All right, now I'm live. A couple things I want to do tonight. I got my prescription of my new crystal from the Crystal Club, and I'm going to show those tonight, and I'm going to read a story tonight as soon as we get some people in here. Till someone comes in and talks to me, I'll be happy. Hello. I'll be right back. I go shut the alarm off. No, I don't. Hello, Lady C. How are you? How's Texas? Yeah, we're gonna do. I'll show everybody my prescription club crystals I got. I'm doing great. Best I can. Hello, Dave. How are you? Pizza, 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 pizza. That's all that guy dreams about. He goes to bed, he dreams pizza. Hello, Woofy. That's good. I don't think that piece. Ugh. Oh, there you are, Croaker. You had pizza for dinner? I had soup and potato chips. Oh. Oh, she promised not to eat your new glasses? Well, how's that going so far? I think Daddy should keep them put up high. Oh, you hid one pair? That's something. I don't know why dogs like to chew on things. I was picking up the bedroom yesterday and I found one of Crook's teeth. I mean, not Crook's teeth, Red's teeth. Guess no one's gonna come in. Well, I will be having giveaways. Um, here coming up shortly. I'm still waiting for my. Hey, Rattletrap, how are you doing? I'll be doing giveaways, but I'm waiting for my order of crystals to come in that I have for my first giveaway. So. Let me think what else. And don't forget, Anita's going to be reading her crystal Bible book and what all crystals are for. That's good. I hope you feel better soon. Has Francis come home yet? Oh, stressed. Yeah, that will get you. Stress is not good. Nope. I'm so sorry. I know you're hurting bad. Okay. We're here for you, Rattletrap. We are here for you. We are one big family on YouTube. We are here for you. I'm looking for something. Oh. Oh boy, I'm so sorry. I just had a school time friend just walked out in front of the vehicle. The ones I've been hanging around in school are gone. Well, you're gonna have to hold the fort down. Um, Red needs to go outside. Just tell him I'll be back. I'll type it in. Come on, Red. You were down here. Come on. Come here. Get over here. Nobody's here. I don't know about this. Hello. Well, you better. It's gonna get cold out. I hope everyone's sharing me out. This is getting boring. Well, I'm gonna read a small story, then I'll get off here, I guess. Murderer reappears after 200 years. April 1988. A history-minded tourist interpreting a nightmare devised a scenario from slavery days, which turns out to be historical facts. In the summer of 1979, we planned a trip from our home in Canada to the United States because my wife, Maria Louise, wanted to visit an aunt, Clara Fritz, who was in who was in a home for the aged in Gettysburg, Tennessee. We booked a reservation in a hotel well ahead because the city is overrun by visitors every summer. We arrived there on June 5th, and I liked what I saw of the motel exterior. As a historian, I am always interested in old buildings. I saw at first glance that the main building in the short section of the U-shaped motel was very old, 18th century style, built on a solid gray stone with white trimmed 16 pane windows. It was 2 stories high with a small dome bell tower crowning the roof above the centrally situated door. Although it was about 5 p.m., we learned to our great dismay that our reserved room had not been held for us. As a general rule in the American motel and hotel, a reserved room can be rented if a guest does not occupy it by 6 o'clock, unless he telephones to say that he will be arriving late. Chagrined, the manager telephoned all the other motels and guest houses in the city within a 20-mile radius, but nothing was available. Look, said the manager, we have one room which we usually don't rent because it is the last one in the east wing and it faces the street. It has 2 windows to the street and one window, an entrance door opening on the courtyard. No shower or bathtub, and it is noisy. I'll rent it to you for half the usual price. We were too old to pitch a tent at some campground, and that would not be air conditioned either. Tired from the long drive, we accepted the manager's offer, and with our toy poodle Floor, came in, moved in. The large square room felt rather cool when the door was open, and it had a slightly musty smell. Never mind, we endure it for one night. Tomorrow we would visit Annie, then move on to a small resort in the Smoky Mountains where we would spend the rest of our vacation. We went out for dinner, and when we returned, we found Florrie not in her basket but in the corner shaking. The poodle accompanied us on all our trips in Canada and the United States. We would leave her in the motel room for hours. She never made a mess or sound even if the motel personnel entered the room for some reason, but it but if anyone touched our luggage, he had to flee in a hurry. Someone must have scared the poor animal all evening as we were unpacking, preparing to go to bed. Flora kept close to my feet, walking along with me. She had never done this before. She was afraid of something. The room had 2 narrow beds with a night table between. I left the courtyard window open, hoping that it might get a little cooler during the night. My wife chose the bed near that window. It was then I noticed that the windows facing the street were not like the ones facing the courtyard. Those had 12 panes with white painted wood trim separating them, a window style that was made until the 1880s when the manufacture of panel windows began in America. Until then, panel glass was mainly imported from England or was made by hand in glassmakers' workshops. Ah, I thought, this room is not part of the new motel. It must have been here long before. I have to take a good look tomorrow morning. I took Corey out for a short walk but could not see much of the contours of the section in which our room was situated because an old tree shaded it from the streetlight. I did notice that the roof was not flat as it was over the motel wing. It had a gable facing the street, and the roof was slanted accordingly. Returning from all walks, four dogs dug in all 4 feet and resisted the pull of the leash. Why is she doing that? I wondered. She must be afraid of something in that room. I picked up the 3-pound dog, carried her in, and put her in a basket close to my bed where she curled up. When I went to bed and switched off the bedside lamp, the full moon was shining through the window facing the street, and only the branches of the old tree provided some shade. The street was not as noisy as the manager had predicted. Hardly any cars passed by. Soon we were all asleep. Suddenly my wife screamed, awakening me. I switched on the bedside lamp and got up to find her sitting up in bed staring with wide open eyes toward the courtyard window and shaking. What happened? I asked. In a trembling voice she says, a black man, half naked, he had a large knife between his teeth, jumped in through the window. He wanted to kill me. I embraced her and said, it was a nightmare. Lie down and go back to sleep. But she insisted I was not sleeping. The noise of someone trying to remove the screen woke me up. I saw him. I saw him. Then I noticed the dog. Florrie was sitting in the far corner of the room, trembling and crying. She must have seen it too, I thought. Then I said, I'll leave the lamp on and sit up all night. If I hear anything suspicious, I'll call the manager. Only then did I notice there was no phone in the room. It was past 2 a.m. Soon Maria Louise went back to sleep. Flora curled up in my lap and slept too, as I kept vigil, amused about what had happened. In early July, the nights are short, the daylight's long. When dawn came, I dressed, put Flora in her basket, and tiptoed out. Nobody was around, and the street was deserted. My Now I was certain that the wing where our room was located had been a house, and I looked for evidence of this. The door of the motel room faced the courtyard, formed by the U. I lost myself. The U shape on the outer side. On the outer side, which faced a tree studded ravine, only the small squares for the bathroom window had been out cut through the walls. But in the building containing our room, I noticed two basement windows. But the motel had no basement. Between these windows, stone steps led up to a clearly visible door frame, which had been filled in the red brick. I spent a long time observing the exterior of the hotel, and I came to the conclusion two buildings on the property were original: the main house and a small house about 300 feet east of it. The background of Maria Louise's nightmare began to take shape in my mind. The historian reads a lot, sees more than other people do, and acquires a way of thinking that we all history mindedness. The manager was in his office when I called on him at 6:45. He recognized me and said, "Any complaints?" I told you. I interrupted him, saying, "No complaints, but we had a very interesting night." Before I speak about that, I wanted to say a few things about the original building of your establishment. Before the hotel was built about 200 years ago, in fact, a rich plantation owner lived in the house in the middle. The rooms where we slept is in a little house which was the quarter for the female slaves. The manager interrupted me. "I know all that. Are you a member of the Historical Society?" "No, I am not," I said. "I am a teacher from Canada. While I know as much about the Civil War and American history as a Canadian history teacher must know, I have never read anything about the pre Civil War history of this area. All that I said is my education guess." "That's remarkable," he replied, shaking his head. "How much more do you know?" "The plantation owner or his son ordered a black servant girl to sleep with him. She reluctantly agreed because she would have been severely punished or sold if she refused, never to see parents or lover again." "Yes, she had a lover, one of the black male servants. One night the jealous lover went to the female slave's house through the window and killed the girl with a knife. My wife saw my wife saw a scene in a nightmare which she had lost last night. Yeah, my wife saw the scene in a nightmare which she had last night." The manager stood up, looked at me in amazement, then went to his bookcase, removed a slim paperback, and asked, "Are you sure you have never read this book?" It was the history of the Bucknell plantation. My grandfather wrote it. He continued, "He bought the place from the Bucknell family's last descendants." "I've never seen it," I said. Did did what I guessed at really occur?" "It did," he said. "Let's see what was the date it happened. Here it is, July 5th, 1779. I was stunned. The murderer had reappeared after 200 years to the day. Well, hello, Panchka. Right on the pan cut. Yeah. Hello, Pan. How are you? I'm not having a very good live tonight. Like normal. People come in and say hi and leave. But I think my next step, I'm going to do a small spirit. I don't know if I'm going to do a spirit box because he's sleeping. I'll show you my crystals. Well, okay, this is a. Let me get my lucky thing out here so I can read what they are for you. This is a necklace. Lapis lazuli is a gemstone that has existed since the beginning of time. The ancient Egyptians used it in their scarabs, pendants, and other ornament objects. Lapis lazuli stone is a gemstone of total awareness and peace that helps connect you to the higher truth. It quickly releases stress, brings deep peace. Lapis lazuli's properties also include helping you to further your journey of self-discovery and self-mastery. Okay, my next one is okay, the next one is a bracelet set. A labradorite bracelet set. With the mystical energy of labradorite, sparks of neon will illuminate the path to your destiny. This stone banishes fears and insecurities and the psychic debris from previous disappointments. Strengthen faith in the self and trust in the universe. It moves other people's projections, including the thoughts, forms that have hooked into the aurora. Wearing labradorite helps you tap into the higher state of consciousness. It is protective stone as well, so it will keep your energy body grounded while allowing you to explore the expanded states of the universe. It's a green color. My next one is I got a little spoon here. It's got a white crystal up here on the top. That's for spoon with clear crystal. Brings a touch of magic to your coffee, tea, and cupcake breaks. With this cute little spoon with clear crystal. Clear crystal resonates at the level of your individual needs, and they will amplify energy intentions that are programmed into them. The next one is obsidian mahogany. Obsidian point. Mahogany obsidian is natural glass obsidian with that has inclusions of magnetite and hematite, creating the mahogany color patches in it. A huge protective stone, it is used for protection from psychic attacks by those who wish to harm or those who do not even intend to but their energy is negative and aggressive and might advertently do so. This is an excellent grounding stone that helps install confidence while protecting bear the wearer from the effects of negative thoughts, self-doubt, and the doubts and scorns of others. Sit quietly, holding your mahogany obsidian point, and ask yourself, what is holding me back from being who I was designed to be? What am I afraid of? Write down whatever comes to mind and put your black obsidian point on top. Its energy helps to bring those things up to the surface. There's that one. Labradorite palm stone. Labradorite is a highly mystical and protective stone and bringer of light. It raises consciousness and connects with universe energies. Labradorite deflects unwanted energies from the aurora and prevents energy leakage. Form a barrier to negative energy. The color of labradorite is usually dark until catches light, the iridescent blue and gold flashes. Sit quietly and hold your healing stone in your hands. Breathe and visualize your intentions for your stones. And the last one is a inset, yeah. Let me get the word out. Incense holder. Got this little peggy thing here. You kind of put it right there in the middle, and you put your incense in and stand straight up, and it falls, ashes will fall to the side. Lotus flower incense holder. Lotus incense holder is a beautiful decoration piece ideal for meditation purpose, yoga rooms, or your sacred space. Perfect for burning incense sticks. Also can be used with incense cones or incense coils. Use your favorite incense to harness the magic of the ancients and send it throughout your sacred sacred space. As your incense burns, feel yourself swirling in the smoke, continuing to and dancing resplendently in the sacred feminine divine power that you are. Those are the crystals I got yesterday. Yep, those are my crystals. You guys are going to have to go back and watch it because I showed them and I read what they are. I did read a story. Mm. Well, let's see what's the next story. How long is that? We'll skip that one. The Ghost of Crazy Horse Hollow. We have moved to the valley in search of peace and quiet, but instead we got a ghost horse that scares the daylights out of us and throws the countryside into an uproar. This is a pretty long one. I could hear the horses racing down. Let's start it over. I could hear the horses racing toward us down the narrow country road. Its metal shoes clanging against the hard chert of the road echoed from the steep hillside like rolling thunder. I pulled Crystal's, my 5-year-old daughter, to safety behind a large tree so the horse could not trample us as it passed. The rider must be crazy to ride that fast down a narrow, crooked road like that, I thought. Someone could get killed if he doesn't slow that beast down. The pounding hooves are almost upon us. I peered cautiously around the tree and waited for the animal to come around the bend in the road. It never came, but the thundering hooves did. They passed us and gradually faded into the distance. Stunned, I attempted to understand what had happened. There was no mistake that the sounds we heard yet. There was no way for a horse to have left the roadway and run that fast over the steep, heavily wooded hills on either side, and even if the animal had been able to do so, surely it could not have passed us without being seen. I told Crystal to follow me as best as she could while I ran down to the crossroads. Our road intersection, another a short distance from the spot where we stood, and the valley widened into open pastures for a mile on both sides of the crossing. If there was anything to be seen, I knew I could see it from there. I was determined to get a look at the idiot who was risking his mount limbs and his own neck in the mad race over difficult terrain. I could still hear the animal's hoofs ringing against the gravel as I dashed into the clearing across the narrow creek that borders my property. The sound was traveling north on Snow Creek Road and could have been more than a quarter mile away, but I still couldn't see a thing. Crystal was running as fast as as her short legs could carry her. Tugged on my trousers and asked, "Where's the horsey, Daddy?" "I'm trying to find out myself," I said. "It sounds like it's right over there on the other road. Can you see anything?" "No, Daddy," she said, "but it sure sounds big and it's going awfully fast." That 1968 experience was my introduction to the ghost horse of Crazy Horse Hollow. As I came to think about it at the time, I had no idea it was a ghost, and I wasted a lot of time and energy over the next few months trying to find some natural explanation for what I have heard. During the following 3 years, the ghost made itself known to a great many people, some of whom actually saw it. Before it faded away into the Never Never Land, where ghost horses go after their mission on Earth has been fulfilled. We had been living in the Murray County, Tennessee countryside only a few months when the ghost first scared the daylights out of me. We had moved from the city because of our difficulties with neighbors who did not share our fondness for numerous weird pets. The geese bit children, the dog dug up flower beds, the cat worried everybody, and our pet skunk terrorized unwary visitors. faced with the Faced with the giving up the animals was finding a suitable home for them. We we bought a rough farm as close to the middle of nowhere as we could get. The area was hilly. In fact, the slopes were so steep that we were going for nothing but timberland. That was fine with me because I was I was interested in farming. My wife wanted to get away from people and close to nature, and Crystal was thrilled with the springs, creeks, and trees. The place was just what we all wanted, and we moved immediately. I had never been in a morbid place. I had never been a morbid person, but our farm began giving me the willies soon after we moved. The steep wooded hills blocked out most of the sunlight and kept our house in constant gloom. The wind rushed through the branches of the trees at the hilltop, at the hilltop, moaning in an eerie way, and the gloominess of the steeped hills narrows narrow gorges and deep creek banks with further magnified by the frequent mist and fog that settled over the valley. We all felt uneasy for the first week. No one said anything because each of us thought it was just his overworked imagination. One evening, when the sensation of unusual strong, we blurted some I gotta say this word. Simul simul I get the word, but I can't get it out. Whatever that word is. There's something evil about this place. We laughed together, that the believed that the feeling was mutual, and began to discuss the situation freely. The very next day, Crystal and I heard the horse. As soon as we got back to the house that afternoon, I told Wanda about the incident. She said she had heard the same sound and had watched from the window but had not been able to see anything. I still not I it still did not occur. Hello, Foxy. You're welcome. Thank you for stopping in. It still did not occur to us that a ghost might be responsible, although I made a jokingly suggestions to that effect. So when we heard the horse a second time about a week later, I assumed that this time I would get to see it and maybe even meet a new neighbor riding on its back. I was working in the creek about 2 city blocks from the house when I heard the horse coming down the road at a fast trot and steady rhythm and a clear ring of the metal shoes striking gravel surface left no doubt in my mind that this was a fine animal, well trained, cared for, obviously an expensive riding horse rather than the unusual farm nags common in the area. The unseen animal galloped smoothly and evenly as it approached from the east. By the time I got to the road, the horse sounded as if it were just around the bend, not more than 100 feet from me. Then the disembodied gallop passed right by, but once again I never saw a thing. My eyes followed the sound as it faded out to the west, but there was nothing there. That did it. I did not believe in ghosts, but this was too much. I threw my tools into my old truck and jumped in, determined to chase that sound and find out once and for all why I could hear the thing so clearly when there was nothing there. A dozen possibility explanations racing through my mind, I jockeyed the pickup onto the road and roared after it. 2 miles later, and no horseman in sight. I turned off on some of the adjoining roads to see if it was some quirk. The sound had echoed in our hollow while the animal was miles away. Half an hour later, frustrated and bewildered, I drove home to see sympathy, and I have a tall glass of liquid nerve tonic after the soothing effects of 2 straight shots. I casually asked my wife, "Did you happen to see the fine horse that passed this afternoon?" "No," Wanda said excitedly. "What kind was it? What did it look like?" "I heard it, but just like the last time, I didn't see a thing." 2 nights later, a neighbor called to tell us one of our Palomino ponies was out of the pasture. The man said it was a quarter horse, not a Shetland pony. But since we had only Palominos in the section, it had to be one of ours. Wanda and I loaded the halt. Wanda and I loaded a halter and lead line and pulled in a pail of grain into the pickup and drove down to Snow Creek Road, where the horse had been seen. Although we searched the area thoroughly, we could not find the animal. As soon as we got home again, I checked the barn and found all 4 of my horses munching contentedly on a bale of hay. None of them were lathered or agitated as it would have been if it running been running or jumping fences. Obviously, the loose horse had not been one of ours. Still, a horse loose in tobacco country is no laughing matter, no matter to whom it belongs to. So I got a strong light and went back to the field by Snow Creek to look for the beast. But despite a diligent search, I found nothing, not even a hoof print. That was strange because the ground was soft after a recent rain. Had the ghost, it was if that was had the ghost, if that what it was, been seen at last. Of course, I still wouldn't believe that it was a ghost. I consoled myself with several logical explanations, such as a trick of moonlight or a practical joke, and went to bed, but not for long. The phone rang again just as I was beginning to doze off. This time the call was from Betty Hill, who lived on our road about a quarter mile west of us. She was mad, and her angry message quickly cleared my head of its sleepily stupor. Our horse was tearing up her garden, snorting in her bedroom window, and clattering around on her back porch, she announced. I wasted no time in getting dressed, and I was still pulling on my trousers when I climbed into the truck. 3 minutes later, I was at the neighbor's house, where, where any sign of horse was conspicuously absent. A careful search resulted in a complete blank. No horse, no tracks, no mud on the porch, nothing at all. Betty, who had been waiting for me and came out as soon as I pulled into the driveway, was beside herself. She couldn't figure out what had happened to the animal. She knew it was she knew it had to be somewhere. We searched again without luck. She apologized for getting me out of bed. Must have been dreaming, she said. It was probably the ghost again. I've said just now, only high jokingly, she muttered something about only nuts, believing in ghosts, and stomped off into the house. While all the what while all of this was going on, Wanda had checked on the barn. All four horses were there, although more open to the possibility of paranormal phenomena than I am. She con- she concluded that I was indeed chasing a ghost. Once back into Once back inside, she considerately fixed another strong dose of 90 proof nerve tonic and had it ready when I walked through the door. Then looked at my face, explained all. It's time we tried a new approach to the problem, she says. But by this, she meant we might as well acknowledge that we are dealing with a ghost. Things changed for the better as soon as accepted the unacceptable. People naturally thought we were crazy for believing in ghosts, but our decision certainly made the situation less aggravating. Instead of chasing a phantom, I counted noses at the barn whenever a report of a loose palomino came in. I started befriending the creature inside of ducking behind the tree every time I heard it flapping down the road. I didn't worry us at all that it might be a ghost. The next time I heard it trotting my way, I called, "Whoa, fellow!" By golly, it did just that. It stopped just like any well trained animal. I still couldn't see it, but Knowing where it was supposed to be, I started to move in the direction. As I did so, I muttered reassuring words such as, there, fellow, don't be nervous. Everything is all right. When I was about to the spot where the ghost should have been, I heard a horse shuffle about and go back up the road to the east at a comfortable gallop. That was the first time I heard it reverse its direction, but it wasn't the last. Winter was upon us in earnest by this time, so people didn't spend any more time outside than was absolutely necessary. Maybe the ghost was inactive during the cold months, or maybe we just didn't hear it. All remained quiet until the following spring, when all the ghosts returned. I angered several of my neighbors when I refused to chase the ghost, but that didn't bother us particularly. In fact, I looked forward to it visit. I went on my way to get close enough to talk to it every opportunity. I had concluded in my imagination that it was the ghost of a war horse killed in the Civil War. I speculated that it was trying desperately either to find its dead rider or to complete its mission. I wanted to put its soul to rest. Yes, I know that sounds silly, maybe even stupid. Many people have told me that in no uncertain terms, but I had developed a real affection for the creature and I pitied it in its hopeless quest. I felt compelled to do all I I felt compelled to do all I could to relieve its suffering so that its soul could rest in peace. As a scoutmaster, I often brought the troops to my place for a camp out. We had designated a hilltop as a permanent camp so that the boys could construct structures such as tables, shelter, showers, and anything else they choose. One evening in June 1969, we were camped on the hill and busy with various activities when we heard a car horn beeping SOS. No one paid any attention at first, since many of the scouts were tenderfeet and couldn't read Morse code. I had the older boys in a huddle laying plans for pranks we intended to pull on the new boys. After I had told them a gruesome ghost story at an old log cabin nearby, it took several minutes for the constant beeping to soak in in my altered brain. Three shorts, three longs, three shorts. Morse code for SOS. Suddenly I heard it and realized that someone was trying to get us off the hill. I called the boys together and we took the shortest possible route home by skidding straight down the steeply sloping hillside. J.K. Lanston, a committeeman for the Boy Scout troop who often served as an assistant scoutmaster, was still tapping out his SOS. As we dashed madly up the driveway, he said Wanda had been giving him directions to our campsite, and when the two of them heard a horse jump over the fence, I ran down the road towards the Snow Creek. Wanda had saddled her horse, and gone after the runaway, but she wanted some help in case it proved difficult to capture. The scouts headed for the creek on foot, while I went to the barn to count heads in my herd. The only one missing was Wanda's mare, and she was riding it. I asked J.K. again about what he had heard. He insisted he was definitely heard a horse clearing the fence as it a running jump. I started up the old track and headed for the creek to help with the search, just in case one of the neighbors' horses had taken a shortcut across the pasture. I found Wanda and the scouts down by the creek. They had formed a big circle and closed in on the area where the horse was supposed to be. But they found absolutely nothing when the trap was sprung. All of them have heard a animal distinctly and were positive it was in the circle they had formed, but no one could see it. I asked if anyone had heard it run off, jump the fence, or make any other sounds after they had closed in on it. No one had heard anything, so I ordered the boys on the north side to open the circle and come around behind those on the south. When I walked very slowly and carefully into the circle and started croning my reassuring words, "It's okay, boy. Nobody is going to hurt you. Everything is just fine. You can go home now. Turn around and go back home." The scouts gaped astonishment as the visible horse shuffled its feet and galloped off down the road, heading east. I never got to tell the boys the ghost story I had planned for the evening. After having participated in a real ghost story, I doubt that they would have been interested anyways. The ghost appearance continued for another year, but less frequently and less dramatically. Whenever I could, I would talk to the animals, and on several occasions had impressions that it was listening to my every word. 2 or 3 times it actually followed me as I did chores along the roadway or by the creek. The following spring, the ghost horse did not appear. That was the last we ever heard of it. I can only speculate about what happened to the phenomenon. Maybe it just wore itself out, but I like to think that I had something to do with setting the restless spirit at ease. I hope now that it is resting in peace. Now we're going to go into Texas. The first story is The Ghost of the Alamo, which I'm not reading tonight. So I guess I'm going to end this stream. I'll talk to you all later.